Welcome back. On today's video, we're talking about 5 of the worst cars produced for the United States market. Without further ado, let's jump right in. Number 5, the 1971 Chevy Vega. Now, in this picture here, it doesn't look that bad. The car is actually has unique styling. It looks like something that someone actually put a little bit of design effort into, as compared to today's cars that all look like they rolled off the same factory assembly line and just rebadged them for whatever brand they are. This car, when it rolled out, it was underpowered. We were coming out of an era where United States had these muscle cars that looked great, drove fast, had a ton of power, and then we hit the oil crisis. And oil prices went, I think when I looked earlier, it was something like 39 cents a gallon up to 59 cents a gallon or something in that range. When you have even though it seems dirt cheap, it was the effect of almost doubling the price of oil. So a lot of the European cars came to the market and had really, really low or really, really excellent fuel economy. You'd be getting 20, 30 plus miles per gallon, and the United States muscle cars were getting 10-ish miles per gallon. When your price of oil doubles and your price of gasoline doubles, well, you look for something more efficient. We've seen that happen a couple times. So this car rolled out. It did not look like the muscle cars. It was not an exciting car for people to get. And then it was underpowered. One of the comments down below actually nails it pretty good when they said, I had a 73 auto transmission, 0 to 50 in about 2 days. Not exactly a quick car. Now, I've seen some of these that have actually rolled out some larger engines. You can see this comment here. Someone says they had a 454 powered one. And that would be fast. Yeah, you've got a really light car, you have a large V8 engine in it, and that was one of the benefits to some of these older cars. You could replace the engine. They had a strong drivetrain, or at least a room for a strong drivetrain, and you could make them pretty darn cool. Moving on, let's go to number 4, and the number 4 on our list is the, if I can get my mouse to work, 1982 Cadillac Cimarron. Now, Cadillac is known for the luxury United States brand. They're the posh cars. They've actually done some very good transitioning of the brand over the past few years. And when I say few, I'm talking about 10 years or so, because before this, they had these ugly cars. They were known before for luxury, and then they roll out this car that looks like a Buick or an Oldsmobile. And as you can see, there's nothing exciting about this. I think Cadillac got a little bit complacent. They kind of rested on their laurels, and they decided to roll out this car that looks like something that you could buy off any showroom. It's not a luxury car. It doesn't stand out. Here it talks about it's barely an inch longer than a Honda Accord. The Cimarron, if they were trying to appeal to a new audience, they probably got one, and it's not the one who wants a luxury car, because this car doesn't really look that exciting. It really looks like a lot of the Oldsmobiles out of that era. So for whatever reason, Cadillac diminished their brand. They decided to go with something that was less exciting than any other car. And, well, I think they got lackluster results, which is why they had to do all of the rebranding they did over the next few years. Now, while it's probably a decent car, it looks okay. When you're spending additional money for a luxury brand, you don't expect to get blah, and that's what they got out of the 82 Cadillac Cimarron. The next one is rather interesting, the 2003 Saturn Ion. Now, Saturn actually came out when they first rolled out their cars. They were an American-made, but they were alternative to the standard American cars. They had a great reputation. They had a great drivetrain. I had a 90-something Saturn SL2 that thing just went. Even though it had a 4-cylinder engine, it had dual overhead cams. It had a little bit of performance. Fiberglass body was really light. And Saturn could have continued that brand, but instead they started rolling out cars that were less than exciting. And as they became more integrated into the GM brand, which is who actually owns Saturn, they started to look like more and more GM cars. And they had they still had some of the bubbly look that was cool in the 1990s, but unfortunately this car just did not take off. So the 2003 Saturn Ion is number 3 on our list. Going down to number 2. Now, this is going to be something that many watching this video may not remember, but Yugo rolled into the United States market in the 1990s, 1980s. And, well, they were kind of cool because they were so dirt cheap. Unfortunately, we found out why they were so dirt cheap. It's because they were pieces of junk. They didn't hold up. They didn't have quality parts. I had a friend who one day he lost his oil cap, so he unscrewed the oil cap, set it down, did an oil change, and lost it somehow. We don't know how that happened, but instead he put a rag over the oil intake, the valve cover gasket where you pour the oil in, and he was going to go down to the auto parts store and buy a new oil cap. Unfortunately, the cam snagged. It did have an overhead cam in it. It snagged the rag, sucked it in, and bent all of the internals in the engine, basically blowing the engine or making the engine unviable. It wasn't worth rebuilding, so he had a car sitting in front of his house for a long, long time because no one wanted to work on them. They really weren't worth working on. They were cheap, they were small, but they were just not good cars. And that brings us down to number 1. The 1974, I believe, Ford Mustang. When you think of a Ford Mustang, you think of a sports car, something powerful with a great engine and styling that's somewhat similar from year to year. This looks like a Buick Riviera, unfortunately. It's called a Mustang, but a name only. This car looked like something your grandma would get more pleasure out of driving than someone who wants a hot rod, a sports car, something with power under the hood. And unfortunately, Ford went through this period where they tried the Fox body Mustang, they tried some of these different styles, they tried different pieces, and this car just did not capture the excitement of the American public. Yes, they're still out there. There's a lot of these rotting away in junkyards and people's yards, but these were not cars that people really, really wanted to drive. So unfortunately, number 1 on our list is the 1974 Buick, no, just kidding, Ford Mustang. Now, even though that is the top 5, we're going to go one more. So the bonus car for worst car created for the United States market, the Pontiac Aztek. I've been in a Pontiac Aztek. One of the people who used to work for me had a Pontiac Aztek, and I don't know who was designing this car. Yes, they had a lot of interior space. Yes, they had some other things going for them. But it looks like someone crossed a minivan with a Honda CRX. You've got this large front end here, and then you roll out this back end that looks like this massive boot that you can throw a bunch of stuff in, but it's just ugly. Visibility inside these things was not great, even though you've got all this window space. This thing just, it was a design fail from the beginning. It really caught the ire of the American public and became a joke pretty much from day one. Now, while you're able to get in this and they're able to drive just fine and they did okay, these were never anything. These were never a car that really captured people's imagination. I don't remember ever having anyone say, I want to drive a Pontiac Aztek. It was more, oh my gosh, my parents bought this, hated it, and I have to drive it now. So the bonus car for worst car in the for the United States market would be the Pontiac Aztek. I hope this video has been at least entertaining for you. I doubt it's been very informative, and I'm hoping that no one's going out and trying to buy one of these cars as a dream car, unless maybe the Vega is something that you want to get out there and redo and race on the track and build it into a muscle car. But anyway, if this video has been at least entertaining, please give us a like down below. If you'd like to see more content like this and anything else that we're doing, consider subscribing to the channel. And if you know someone this may benefit, or if you're trying to talk someone out of a car, please do forward this and save them the mistake. Thanks for being here. We'll see you on the next one.